national catastrophe is unfolding across huge swaths of China as a summer storm of unimaginable ferocity has morphed into a deadly, nationwide disaster. Beginning on the 9th of July, a relentless and unforgiving downpour unleashed hell on earth, triggering cataclysmic flooding that has swallowed entire towns and cities whole, shattered critical infrastructure, and left millions of lives in utter upheaval across numerous provinces. The scenes on the ground are apocalyptic. What were once bustling streets are now raging, muddy torrents. Entire residential neighborhoods have been submerged, with only the rooftops and upper floors of buildings poking through the murky brown water, like tombstones for a drowned world. Countless cars, trucks and buses have vanished beneath the deluge, and in many hard-hit areas, the first and even second stories of apartment blocks and homes are completely inundated, their contents destroyed, and their inhabitants displaced. In the megacity of Chongqing, the situation turned into a nightmare. Horrifying flash floods ripped through urban districts, tossing cars and buses around like toys, and sweeping away anything that wasn't anchored down. Harrowing footage captured by terrified locals shows massive concrete bridges groaning under the immense pressure of the floodwaters, before shattering and collapsing into the churning river below. In the videos you can see panicked residents scrambling for higher ground, fleeing the rapidly rising tide that consumed their city. The devastation was so complete that several subway stations were entirely flooded, and widespread power outages plunged entire districts into darkness, adding to the chaos and fear.
Beijing's subway system has been hit particularly hard. Several stations have been completely flooded. Trapped passengers were forced to break emergency doors open.
Further inland, the province of Sichuan faced a dual threat that was just as devastating. The incessant heavy rains triggered massive landslides, sending cascading curtains of mud and rock down the mountainsides. These earth flows buried roads and completely severed lifelines to remote rural villages, cutting them off from any help. At the same time, the Minjiang and Dajiang rivers swelled to historic levels, inundating several towns. Emergency sirens wailed across counties as authorities were forced to make a terrible choice. Open the floodgates on struggling dams to release excess water, a move necessary to prevent their total structural failure, but which sent yet more floodwater surging downstream. Meanwhile, in Hubei province, a region already on edge from the dangerously high water levels of the Yangtze River, the situation went from bad to worse. Major tributaries, including the Han and Qing rivers, reached their banks, sending floodwaters pouring into urban housing complexes. Key bridges that connected communities were simply washed away. In the city of Yihan, dramatic scenes showed rescue teams in small boats navigating the new urban rivers, throwing ropes to desperate families trapped in the upper floors of their homes and pulling them to safety through their own windows. Local reports confirmed that countless others were stranded on their rooftops, unable to escape as stairwells were either flooded or had collapsed entirely. But perhaps the most terrifying scenario became a reality in Yunnan province. After a week of the non-stop downpour, the breaking point was reached. At least 2 major dams failed, unleashing an unstoppable wall of water that obliterated downstream villages in its path. The sheer force of the water cracked streets open and flattened everything. Sirens failed to provide enough warning for some communities. Evacuees told reporters they had mere minutes to run for their lives before their homes were simply erased from the earth. The destruction was absolute. Bridges were leveled, roads disappeared, and cell towers were toppled, plunging the region into a communications blackout.
Stations have been completely flooded. Trapped passengers were forced to break emergency doors open.
A massive rescue operation is now in motion, but the conditions are treacherous. Military units, along with helicopters, amphibious vehicles, and boats, have been deployed to aid in the effort. However, the thick, swirling sludge, powerful currents, and completely obliterated roads are making many areas utterly inaccessible. Emergency shelters are stretched far beyond their limits. School gymnasiums, temples, and even parking garages are crammed with displaced people. Many desperate for basic necessities like food, water, and dry clothes. Authorities have now issued the highest level flood alerts with a grim forecast. More rain is on the way. A chilling fear is spreading across the nation as the dams that are still holding are now under unimaginable strain. Many worry that if the rain continues, even larger reservoirs upstream could breach, compounding a situation that is already beyond desperate. And with information from the hardest hit areas still just a trickle, the terrifying truth is that the reality on the ground could be far, far worse than what is currently being reported.